Yo, okay. Now we'll talk about something that's more relevant right now. And I think most of you already know my stance on this when we start talking about the the um, the different classes and all this stuff and the stuff that you see going on with the extreme dogs and the different things of that nature. And I go a little more into detail here because the problem, and I don't want to say this publicly all the time because it just ends up into an argument, but the thing of it is that extreme wise, we started talking about the quote unquote extreme dog. And as far as the extreme dog, like, people can very rarely find any of these dogs that have lived a long life, and that's becoming a problem. I've explained it on live, and you guys have heard me on live. But one of the reasons why the concept of the extreme is such a bad dog is because of the idea of the amount of mass that it takes to for them to qualify as an extreme, but then also the irregular heartbeats, the heart murmurs, the elongated palates, the narrow nares. It takes so much oxygen to support muscle. It actually takes more oxygen to support muscle than it does fat. So with all that being said, you're cutting down the air supply, but you're adding mass. It's a recipe for disaster, and we're seeing it more and more. Do I think it can be fixed? I absolutely do not think it can be fixed. It's just a genetics thing. It's a genetics thing that unless we can do like the horse Secretariat that had a heart and lung capacity that was 2.5 times all the other horses, unless we can put something like that inside of these dogs, it's not going to work. It's going to keep on being in a situation of the dogs going into cardiac arrest a lot of times. Now, I know you're thinking like, well, you have Mandela and he's very extreme and he's very big. Mandela is a product of breeding over time. Yes, he is extreme. He is a big boy. He breathes very well. He can sunbathe. I always tell y'all that, and it's funny because that's what he does. It's a video of him doing it. But at the end of the day, that's who he is. Mandela loves the sun, but he breathes very well. His children breathe very well, and this is something that I've talked to people about when I said the idea of going extreme. It takes time, and the reason why I say that it can't be done with these breeders is they're not willing to put in the time. They're not willing to stack the pedigrees. They're not willing to fix and eliminate the dogs that aren't good for the breed. They're not willing to do any of that. They want everything right now, and if it doesn't happen right now, they're going to find a way to try to speed up the process. One of the worst ways they've tried to speed up the process is they are adding in the French Bulldog and they're adding in the English Bulldog for their natural dimensions of size. Like you look at a regular French Bulldog, he's a tiny dude, but he's a tiny little stocky dude. So they like that because that gene clicks in and it makes their extreme slash sometimes micro or whatever, it gives them that very muscular appearance. I believe that's definitely a gene that they have found that works. The only problem is that what would have taken place throughout time is it would have been uh, more of a study or a watch on how the cardiovascular system was reacting and the neurological system was reacting to the changes in the dog's bodies. And what I'm saying is, and I've told you guys, these are abnormalities, but just like Beanstalk's eyes coming together close, that's an abnormality. That's a symbol. I mean, a header to something that's bigger that's coming right behind it. That's just something that's letting us know this is a deformity. A dog's eyes shouldn't be starting to come so close together that he looks like a cyclops. We also shouldn't be seeing some of these, especially more I'm seeing a lot with the Frenchies, where the dog has diffused spine and the back is very, very short and it can't move his neck that well. That disease does get worse. We've seen dogs who've had that disease and some of you got mad and wanted to cuss and cry and everything on the post. But ultimately, what goes on is that we have to be very, very cognizant of everything we breed. We have to be very cognizant of every issue. Every breeding that I do, I watch. I just did a breeding that didn't turn out as well as I would have liked it to have. And I just figured out it was too close. I've seen little deficiencies. I've seen little issues. And I understand that breeding is too close, to the couple people who have show dogs on there. And we don't think that they're turning out to be show quality. You replace the puppy, they fix those dogs, and you move forward. That's what you have to do. Some people are, oh, that's taking losses. No, the biggest loss you can have is to damage the breed and damage your brand, as everyone calls it, as a breeder when you put out an inefficient product. We have to do better at this, and that's just the bottom line, you know. But the extreme, I don't think, you know, some of you were looking for an answer from me. Do I think the extreme could work? I think over time we could build the extreme, but it wouldn't be the extreme that they like. It would just be an extremely muscular and built up American bully, and that's all. And to be honest, that's the ultimate goal anyway. You don't have to call it extreme or a stack off dog or whatever. This is just building a dog to his maximum capabilities, and balancing that out with his maximum health capabilities to allow it to survive and to function normally. So that's always the goal, but we'll see how it goes in the future. I'm not too optimistic about those guys. Until next time, y'all. Peace.